and then everybody started getting money. Trucks, people are buying like trucks for like 250,000, and right now that truck's probably worth 30, 40 grand, if that.
Wow.
And then I think that really messed up the market a lot, and it just never really fully recovered from it because it was like a huge boom, and then just you
Right. So
know
you got too much debt and not enough asset value.
that then too many carriers entered the market. They keep on getting wiped out, but it's still not helping. It just basically until the market gets better and there's a surplus, but basically it all comes down to the economy. If the economy gets flowing, people start buying, stuff gets moving, it's gonna be fine. But until the economy it gets good, because like not it's an emotional roller coaster right now. Because you had the election, right? That happened. We thought everything's gonna be good. Then you got the tariffs, that happened, right? Then finally there's a deal with the tariffs. Good news, little boost. A month later, the New York judges, stopped the tariffs again. Boom, and it's just like
Right.
you just need like a stroke of good luck, instead of just up and down all the time.
I'll agree with you. We got a lot of activist judges out there that, you got to let the administration, whichever side you're on, you got to let the administration do their job and see what goes on. But you got judges that are overturning every single thing the administration does. That doesn't help anybody.
No, no, it
Keeps
doesn't.
everybody in limbo. You don't, even stockbrokers, they don't know what to do. What direction is everything going? Because one day, the administration says this, next day the courts say that, and you can't get anything done because you don't know where it's going to end up.
Yeah, that's just uncertainty, and that's exactly because because I really didn't like the way he dealt with China. Like in my personal opinion, I didn't like that. I thought that was just way too strong, way too. You can't a bully can't bully a bully. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
he could have went about it a little bit better. But I mean, it happened. He did it. And whether you like the guy or like you said, whatever side you're on, just we should have let it play out. And it ended up going to the point where people started folding, giving in. We're reaching deals. We reach a deal with them, and then the court comes out of nowhere. You know,
Exactly, and that's the key is, and I say that, and you repeated it, is you've got to support. And listen, I may not like one guy over another, but whether it's Biden's administration or Trump's administration or whatever, you've got to support them because if you don't, they're not going to be able to play whatever game they're playing with the other side. You don't want to fight your own party, your own country, I should say, simply because you're not helping anybody. So if you don't like the way Trump handled China, you still got to, as you said, you got to let him go with it because he's got an end game. But with the court stepping in, that takes away and puts everything on hold. So now whatever Trump's end game is, we'll never find out for right now because it's all on hold. And that's the unfortunate part. And hoping that an administration fails is like being on a ship and putting holes in it. You're going to fail too. So I always say support whoever your president is. Even if it's unwillingly, just support him because talk about him under behind the table because you got to support him when he's making decisions and not have the courts or anybody else override him like they're doing now. It's insane what they're doing, whether they like Trump or not like Trump. It's insane what the courts are doing. They got to let the administration fulfill what they're trying to do, and that's the only way we're going to see how this is going to end up.
yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. Same thing. I mean, even if you see people out there, like I said, it doesn't matter who was president. Like if the president does something you don't like, just say it. But you know what I mean. But just don't like root. So many people are like rooting against America, and they're in. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like,
Right, right. You're in the ship.
yeah,
Don't be rooting that it's sinking. That's not good. Let it play out. Here, let's say Trump failed at his tariffs. Once he failed, he'd realize, oh crap, I got to do something else, and he would. But the problem now is it's all on hold because of the courts. So Trump isn't going to do anything different right now. He can't. So that's the unfortunate part. And I would be saying the same thing if it was Biden. You got to let them play it out so they could change what's broken or fix it or stay the course if it's working.
yeah,
But you won't
because
know until you let them see what they're going to do.
yeah, because that ban was coming out. The ships from China were supposed to be coming, so transportation would have picked up. Because right now, like most of them come to California. So and most of the stuff with the bonded warehouses because you don't pay tariffs until you actually take the stuff out of the warehouse. So like it was about to be like a flood of freight coming in, and then they just messed that up.
Well,
Like
hopefully Trump, Trump is a good businessman, and so hopefully he sees that and he makes some adjustments based on the court's decision for now until this is decided by, which will eventually go to the Supreme Court. But hopefully he does something in the meantime to protect the middlemen, such as yourselves.
yeah, I mean it's gonna go to Supreme Court like you said, and they're gonna probably go in his favor, and then they just wasted a whole bunch of time. It's just like it just feels like they're just throwing wrenches into gears just to slow him down. But I mean, so far everything's been going on. He's been winning it. It just sucks to see that. everybody just keeps on trying to, step in and just, mess everything up. And like you said,
Well,
let them cook, see what happens. Because at the same time, I don't need at this point. Just like let's see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? We're already
right.
37 trillion in debt. Like, what more could happen?
Exactly. We are $37 trillion in debt, and what 12 trillion, I think, was added by the last administration. Okay. I've never seen a president picked on more than President Trump. He's been picked on by so many people, and now these judges, it's not good.
Mm,
The Democrat Congress, their poll numbers are now 18%, an extreme low, lower than it's ever been in history for the Democrat Party. And they should look in the mirror and say, okay, we need to stop this. We need to stop what we're doing because it's not working. We need to let Trump, beat Trump and see what happens.
yeah, I mean, hopefully everything goes good, man. Because like I said, like America, like used to be like awesome. Like my parents came here obviously in the early '80s. They had me, here. And from I remember, like everything was good. Though it was really good. I remember until was it 2008 when the bailouts for the banks happened, and then
Right.
I remember my dad got put on he got laid off because they were making screws for cars. He was making screws for like GM and Ford. Um, so when the car industry went down, I remember all that stuff. And then after that, everything was good too. And then everything was sailing pretty smooth until the pandemic.
Yeah, it's crazy. That pandemic changed a whole lot of things in everybody's industry.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, right? Everybody's damn industry.
Yeah, the world became a different place. But it's kind of weird. I was talking to somebody that we don't, it's kind of even hard to think how life was in the pandemic. When you get groceries uh, delivered to you, and then I don't know how you worked it, but, we would wipe off all the groceries, disinfect it all, then put it on the countertop and be very careful with it. It's kind of weird that we came from that point just, a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie to you. When it first happened, I was a little scared too. But then, like, like after like a couple weeks went by, and like I'm like, all right, man, this is
This is BS, right?
yeah.
But there are people that are still wearing masks, so there are
I,
people that still think it's still cool.
when it first happened, they were wearing gas masks. I was going to stores, they were wearing like full out gas masks. I was like, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
bro.
see some pretty weird stuff, like they're wearing the water bottles over their heads, just cutting out, putting. And they were doing a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, luckily with trucking was labeled essential, so I was able to at least like
Yes,
because if
you know,
you're no,
oddly enough, so was lawyer. So
oh,
I was able to travel the roads when other people couldn't because they considered it essential. I don't know what was essential about my business, but I took advantage of it.
and then but that helped your industry out a lot too, right? Because now everything's Zoom, so you're able to kick back in Florida and
I'll
do
tell you what,
Zooms.
that took us into this current century to where, the judges can't force us to come in except for trials. I mean, they do for, hearings, important hearings, which I guess you should. But yeah, during Zoom, we learned how to even do bench trials by Zoom. So I think it helped our industry a lot. So we're not having to charge a client 3 hours for court time. We can now charge them 15 minutes for the actual time we just sat down and, you know, spent on the Zoom call.
So it's nice you get like you said because you're chilling in Florida, right? Because you were in Tennessee, then you went down to Florida,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But
So
you want to be
I
close to
travel back and
Darren.
forth to Chicago mainly for trials, but sometimes to visit with people. But yeah, mainly for trials.
You just wanted to live closer to Darren, or what?
No, see, that was just I had no idea until we were talking that he was in Florida too. We're not near each other, just so you know. He's on the other side. But
Close enough.
no, I love the weather. I love the sunshine. That's what it's all about for me is the sunshine.
What part are you in?
I live in the Tampa area.
Oh, okay, yeah, Tampa's nice, man.
Yeah.
One of our dispatchers actually moved to Tampa. He's working from home over there somewhere. I think North Tampa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you can't beat the number of sunny days we have. And don't get me wrong, right now the heat is brutal heat. For the next 3, 4 months, it is a brutal heat. But even that's bearable. Everybody's got a pool. You just jump in a pool, get back out. Stay in your air conditionings while it's really hot. But for those 4 months, we're willing to tough it out. So when you guys are having 30-degree and minus temperatures, we're enjoying 70s and 80s. So we like it.